Hi, I'm Zoe. This is Frag, breaking down the giants in our personal lives.
Wow. You got me there. Breaking down the giants in our personal lives. We start off episode number 21, and for some reason that affects me. Breaking down the giants in our personal lives. I think that we all have to define what the giants are in our personal lives. Your giant is bigger than my giant. Could be smaller, could be smellier, but we all have giants, and yet a lot of us don't even want to talk about them. We kind of like shove them to the side. And in doing so, what happens is that we become silent and or inactive in an everyday world that's requiring every one of us that it's time to show up.
Don't you also hide a lot of things?
Wait. Hold on. Is this where we're going to go today? Don't I also hide a lot of things? Are we supposed to air our dirty laundry? Are we supposed to be brutally honest in the way of allowing people to see who we are? I mean, Bruce Lee, he wouldn't let people know what his knowledge was as a martial artist, because when you do things like that, what you're basically doing is you're giving your enemies a weapon. You're giving them access to who you are, who you might be, and who you're going to become. I think we all hide things, and in the way of hiding things, sometimes it's good for you. I mean, there were many times that my father would look at me and say, just stop. Nobody in the world cares, okay? So your drama doesn't need to be available for other people to put themselves into. And he's right about that, because we all carry a ton of drama. And if you don't think that's true, then I invite you to visit a grocery store sometime and just stand at one of the checkout lanes. You're going to hear so much personal drama come out, because if you think a bartender is a psychologist, that person on the register checking you out, boop, 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 you know, the apples, the cans of beans, everything like that, that person right there is an untrained psychologist, and they're taking in everything that people are sharing. They're dumping their lives. But that's the way we're trained, though. I mean, we've seen so many videos at the grocery store, and they tell us that do not make it about you. Don't make it personal. Be filled with empathy. Have compassion and concern, because those that are visiting you in that moment of now need somebody to talk with, and you're part of that conversation.
Being a daily writer, are you afraid that one day someone will read something in your journals that will be very embarrassing?
No, not at all. No. And I think the reason why is because I rely so much on hidden speak. Hidden speak is using words that basically touch where the emotion is, but it doesn't really go into where the emotion got its start. And so I'm very careful in my writing, but at the same time, if I go back in there and have to explain what I've written, you're going to see things that might embarrass me, only because I'm just an everyday person with an open mind, common man, common background. And when I see things that are wrong, I'll talk about it. But through writing, though, No, I don't think there's going to be anything in there that's going to embarrass anybody. I mean, I used to, I'm going to be very honest here. I used to put curses on people until I did some research on black magic, and it said, for you to put black magic on another person, it's going to be tenfold on you. You have to experience it first. And I said, well, that stuff has to stop right now, because no wonder I have a bleak situation here. It's because I put the curse on myself first, and then it was transferred, and this has got to stop like right now.
Your wife came up to you yesterday. She wanted you to write what you think her life is going to be for the next 10 years.
I found that to be very odd. It caught me off guard. It got my attention. It made me start thinking, but it's one of those situations where I think that being a daily writer versus someone who doesn't write, it's like walking up to a comedian and saying, tell me a joke, funny man. And the funny people don't like situations like that, because it puts them on the spot. And I think it's the same way for me as a daily writer. First of all, I'm not going to sit down and try to write about somebody's future, because I believe in being in the presence of now. This is mindfulness. This is awareness. And to try to lay things out. I did a thing back before the new millennium, and I used to make predictions for the next year. Every New Year's Eve, I would make predictions. And every one of those predictions, every one of them were wrong. I wasted a lot of ink. I wasted a lot of time. I wasted a lot of emotions and energy. They were wrong. So when I was approached yesterday and she said, write about my next 10 years. I mean, I understood where she was coming from because she's turning 69 this November, and that would mean that she would be 79 at the end of the writing if I chose to do something like that. And I don't see her at that age. In fact, I talked about it on my podcast the other day that at the age of 16, I never saw myself as a 60-year-old man. But at the age of 60, which is where I stand right now, I still feel like that 16-year-old kid. I don't know. I didn't realize that's the way it was going to be. And so if I were to try to predict what's going to go through my wife in the next 10 years, I think that's insanity because it's going to be 100% wrong.
You look at yourself as being a silent watcher. They call that a silent wolf, always studying the movement of people.
Let's be clear here. You know, I enjoy watching people because it's entertainment to me. I'm always in the front row, the best seat in the house, watching people do what people do. I mean, yesterday, the Mega Millions lottery, what was it, $1.28 million or billion dollars. And I had 3,300 people come up to me at customer service. 3,300 people dreaming, wishfully thinking, talking about the things that they would want to change in their lives, which I found very interesting because before I went into the position, the job, I found myself reading an article about past winners and how those past winners, their lives did change for the positive as well as the negative, because I wanted to study the mind and how it reacts when things like this change. And I think one of the stories that grabbed my attention the most was this man who said that he lost his family and his friends because once he made the millions that he did, which was something like 36 million, they wanted him to pay for everything. And they would go on vacations, he would pay for it. They needed new clothes, he would pay for it. Everything that they wanted to do in life, they expected him to pay for it. And one day he woke up and he realized, you know, I can't do that anymore because my relationship with any person is based on my worth and not my personality.
Are you disappointed that you didn't win the $1 billion?
What would I even do with $1 billion? I mean, seriously. No, I'm not disappointed. In fact, I was pretty much convinced that if I did win the Mega Millions or even got a big chunk of it, I was convinced that I would just continue just working. That's just who I am. And I wasn't going to do anything with it except for just plant it and let it grow, to work it through the soil, to somehow, some way put it through the community. But it had to be something that I was physically and mentally involved in. Because we all know the story of the father that gave his 3 sons money. And what did they do with it? And the one son decided that he was going to put it in the earth and come back to it one day. And the father was so disappointed with him because it didn't grow. He didn't do anything with it. Nothing changed. Sure, it was secure. It was in the earth. But the father was very disappointed because it didn't grow. And that's what you need to do with any kind of money is you've got to learn how to grow it. And so for the past week, these people that were trying for the Mega Millions, what I would do is they would give me a $20 for $15 worth of tickets. And so I would put the ticket in the palm of my hand with the $5 bill or whatever change on the top of it. And I would say, the ticket is the soil. Plant the seeds. That's the money. And let it grow. So mentally, spiritually, whatever, being a total freak, I was basically saying, when you win the money, if you do win the money, don't sit on it. You've got to work it. You've got to work it because in reality, when you work money, the community grows, the economy grows. Don't sit on money. You gotta work it.
If you could have anything in life, what would be that one thing that you would love to have?
Zoe, that's a trick question. That's a question that really doesn't have an answer because as the minutes and seconds pass by, what you want in life endlessly changes. It evolves. You know, it's one of those things that, sure, we would like to have just enough money to pay the electric bill this month, or we would love to have money so I could get a new smartphone. If we could have anything in life, I would love to have a beautiful green lawn, but that's just not going to happen because I live in a forest. And a forest floor does not come with green grass that you see in magazines. And if it does, it's going to cost you a ton of money, but I need that money to pay for the dentist bill. If you could have anything in life, what would you want? I mean, there are times that my bird gets so loud that I would love for him to just be quiet so that it doesn't rock my inner core. And if you've got a blue crown conure or any type of parrot, you know what I'm talking about. Those monkeys get really, really loud, and it just gets into your system of choice. But if you could have anything that you want, I daily write. I get the opportunity to share thoughts. That's something that I enjoy. That's something that I want. But do I want it every day? No, there are times I don't want to be that writer. And the reason why is because that writer is so honest on the page, and it brings up emotions. It stirs my thought process. And you know, I mean, would I love to donate money? Yeah, of course I would. But would they use it in the ways that I want it to be used and not the ways? And people would say, well, wait a second, you relinquished the money, which means you gave up control. They can do whatever they want with it. And it's like, wow, if there's anything that I want, it's such a trick question, because I mean, I would love to have contact lenses that stay focused all the time, but you can't do that because your eyes change all the time. The moisture in your eyes and the atmosphere, I can't change the atmosphere. I would love it to be 81 degrees every day with never a thunderstorm, but why would you do that? You need the thunderstorms in order to keep things growing. So it's kind of a trick question, but I have jokingly said, though, that there's a point in my life that I know that I will have made it if I have brand new socks and underwear on every day. In other words, I have brand new socks and underwear. I never wear them twice. I have them every day. And that's very selfish. And the question is that why is that it's so important for you? Brand new socks and underwear every day. And I think that it provides a form of or a sense of security. That it's tight, it's warm, it's comforting. Because the more you use your socks, the more you use your underwear, you feel like you're naked. And I don't like being naked, not even in my house. This is why I defrag. I put myself out there so that I can learn more about who it is, what it is, and how it is, when it is, more importantly, why it is.
Keeping a defrag journal is very important. You learn a lot about yourself. To start one requires only you. Be upfront and honest. Be original and brave. Allow yourself to grow beyond yesterday. I'm Zoe. See you next time. Keep smiling and keep loving those pets.